Who is it that you think over the last month just deserves some more love for what they've been doing to this Georgia team who seems to be hitting their stride?
Oh man, guy that I brought up earlier, but I really can't say enough good things about the last 2 weeks that he's played ball is Gabe Harris. Man, that was a guy that before the year I think we both knew would really have to step up for this pass rush to have any sort of potency as a unit. And for the first part of the year, that wasn't really what we saw. It was not a good pass rush. It arguably was one of the probably top two or three things that cost them the game against Alabama, and it nearly cost them against Tennessee and Ole Miss and everything. But man, I don't want to say we've just seen a completely different Gabe Harris lately. I don't think it's ever that simple, but he has just played really, really well these last couple games. He was already doing a pretty good job of setting the edge and pushing as a run defender, but I think his pass rush has really come on this last couple of weeks. He's got, I think, 2 sacks in his last 2 games. And yeah, it's been a big reason that Georgia's pass rush has shown signs of life is we knew that he was going to have to be the leader in that room. And he's been that lately. So there's a lot of guys in the pass rush that have started to play better. And I'm not going to rattle them off in case you want to talk about some of them. But I think we always had to start with Gabe Harris. And that's kind of what's happened lately. He's been playing really good football, and I think he deserves a lot of credit for this defensive, I guess, resurgence or turnaround, whatever word you want to use, that we've seen these last couple of weeks against Mississippi State and Texas.
Yeah, I think that's a great call. I would say Quintavious Johnson as well, but I think he actually is getting his love, man. I think a lot of people are noting that Quintavious Johnson is playing some of his best ball of the season, and he's just been, it seems like in on every single snap, basically every single game. He's been really consistent for Georgia this year. I'm going to go to the offensive side of the ball and not a deep track here, sir. I'm going to go with Nate Frazier.
Yeah.
I feel like there's been a lot of Chauncey Bowens talk, and well-deserved. Chauncey Bowens is really, I think, he's elevated the game of Nate Frazier, but he came on and gave Georgia that physical back that they were really missing. Mm-hmm. But Nate Frazier is still the most complete back on this team, and he's got the highest upside. He's the guy who moves different. Like when he explodes through the hole, like you kind of see like, okay, that's why that guy was a 5-star coming out of high school. Like he moves different. Mm-hmm. And if he's not fumbling the ball, he's a damn good running back. Last 4 games, he's led Georgia in rushing through the last 4 games. 370 yards in the last 4 games, averaging 92 yards a game. So this guy's been, I think, I'm not going to say he was written off, but after that Alabama loss, there was not a lot of people that were digging Nate Frazier, and he's really come on and is taking that next step that we've kind of all expected him to take this year.
Yeah, 100%, man. I mean, I was in the stands for that Mississippi State game, and yeah, you want to talk about a guy that just moves different. I mean, he does just really hit that hole, and I think it's always been, like you said, we've always kind of known that Frazier, if could be the superstar in that room if he puts it all together and everything. And by golly, we've seen flashes. His whole career, we've seen flashes. That run against Clemson, his first game, like you could see it right there. But yeah, I think also Frazier deserves a lot of credit for his turnaround. And I also think the coaching staff deserves a lot of credit for the belief that they've shown in this kid. I think they've done a really good job of, first of all, holding him accountable for his fumbles. Clearly, they've shown that that's kind of unacceptable, yanking him against Alabama and he didn't get to play again. But they could have. I think a lot of coaching staffs would have seen that fumble against Alabama, such a costly play against your biggest rival and everything like that. I think a lot of coaching, and it was already something that he had struggled with in the past. I think a lot of staffs would have kind of given up on the kid right then and there, or at the very least kind of decided to relegate him to the number 2, number 3 role in the backfield for the rest of the year. But credit to them, man. They believe in Nate Frazier. They know the potential that this kid has. And sure enough, they've worked him back into the lineup slowly but surely the last few weeks. He didn't get a ton of run against Kentucky, but he was out there. Auburn, same thing. Got bottled up, but he was out there. And then from the Ole Miss game on, like the guy has been money. I mean, I thought he was the best back against Mississippi State, or I mean, against Ole Miss, Mississippi State, obviously, also. And then like Florida didn't have a great game, but I thought he played well enough there and had some nice runs. Like,
yeah, that's the one that he didn't lead Georgia in rushing in the last 4.
Yeah, that was that was a good thing. Bowens is such a great player, and Bowens had that run at the end and everything. But yeah, absolutely, Frazier's really picked it up lately. He seems like everything they say about this kid. He's a hard worker. He wants to get better so badly, and I think the last few games are proof enough of that, and it really makes you excited for the rest of Nate Frazier's career. Like I don't think I'm convinced that like he's never gonna fumble again or whatever, and I don't expect him to like never fumble again or anything, but I do think a corner has been turned, and I think we're gonna see the best version of Nate Frazier for this team going forward the rest of the season, and that's pretty exciting to think about if you're a Georgia fan.
For sure. 647 yards, 3 touchdowns this year. Bowens with 493 and 6 touchdowns. Then you got Gunner with 350 and 8 touchdowns. But yeah, Frazier averaging 5.5 yards a carry. Bowens 5.2. Really nice to see Georgia running that ball, man.
Oh yeah, I mean they spent all offseason talking about how they were going to do it. That we're going to get back to the run game, and they deserve a lot of credit. Like they really stuck to their guns about that, and they really have committed to reviving the run game this year. And who would have thunk it? The second the offensive line starts to get healthy and starts to put a consistent 5 out there, like they're just running on everybody. And you can run the ball, you can do whatever you want in football.
For sure. Also just the tight end position in general, I feel like is really just become difference makers. Like, I don't know. It's like you look at the stats and it's like they're not doing that much statistically, but it's just, I don't know. You just see Oscar Delp is in on basically every play. Whether he's the lead blocker or he's the one making the play, it seems like Oscar Delp is just such a huge part of this offense. Had 1 catch versus Tennessee, nothing versus Alabama. They had 4 catches versus Ole Miss, 3 versus Mississippi State, 3 versus Texas, like averaging like 15 yards a catch in some of those games too. Like Oscar Delp, and then Lucky obviously had his 3 touchdown game versus Ole Miss, and you're now seeing Elias Williams. I guess we're doing the whole tight end group. Elias Williams is a unicorn. Shout out to Darnell Washington this week. That catch he had where he's throwing grown men down like children. But yeah, just this tight end group in general, man, I feel like is really come on, and it's gonna be the reason why like this Georgia team continues to have the success they do. Like they just fit exactly what Georgia does in terms of blockers and receivers. Like I couldn't be higher on Delp and Lucky than I am right now.
Yeah, I really couldn't either. I mean, they're both really good players, but especially Delp, I think he just looks like he could play in the NFL right now. Like he is as complete of a tight end, I think, as you'll see in the SEC in terms of just, I mean, what he does as a blocker, how quickly he can get out of his breaks. Like he has real acceleration. I mean, he had that one. Who was that against where he caught like that 40-yard pass and just zoomed past everybody? I think that was
Kentucky.
Yeah.
1 for 36 against Kentucky. Yeah.
I mean, like he really has. This is his 4th year in the program. This is his fourth year under Hartley, and I really think all of that is really showing. Like he is a true, I guess, 5-tool tight end, and Lucky also has been huge. I mean, Lucky scored against Texas. Lucky obviously had the hat trick against Ole Miss, and he's also improving as a blocker, and he's probably the more like shifty guy as a route runner also. But yeah, this tight end room is sick. I really hate that Ethan Barber is not out there too, because that would just make things even more fun. But yeah, Elias Williams also is like the fact that this is the true freshman 3rd tight end, and they can just put him in there and just throw up a jump ball to him and just watch him posterize the guy. Like, yeah, it's a sick room. These Bulldogs love their tight ends. We've known that for a while, and yeah, man, they like whenever you can line up in like 13 personnel and still feel like you've got a really good chance to throw the ball kind of however you want to, you've got to have some unicorns, some aliens at tight end there, and I think that's what Georgia's got.
Yeah, and along the same lines of Nate Frazier, I feel like Ernest Green and Monroe Freeling were getting a lot of heat from this fan base at one point. Probably more last year, obviously, than this
I
year.
was
But
hating on Monroe Freeling, man.
yeah, for sure. And I think it shows. I respect the honesty. I think it shows that these guys were playing injured a year ago, and now Monroe Freeling won SEC Lineman of the Week for the second time this year. Like, I think these guys, and I mean, just the offensive line in general, it's just been so good. I think that's really what's the offensive line solidifying is what's kind of like it's risen the floor of this Georgia team. And I think maybe that is some of the slow starts, is the offensive line was still figuring some things out, and they seem to be hitting their stride at the right moment. But yeah, shout out to Ernest Green and Monroe Freeling specifically.
Yeah, they've both been crazy good. I mean, ever since Green came back, he's just been a complete beast. Freeling has maybe been the best tackle in the SEC over the last month. I mean, he's been ridiculous. And then in the middle, dude, you've got Donnie Glover and Juan Gaston look like they're going to be 3-year starters. They look like they're going to be guys that, you know, like, enjoy them while you have them. They're going to be playing on Sundays types of dudes. And then, of course, the big man in the middle, the guy that everyone wrote off as the coach's son's Nepo baby on the team, Drew Bobo, one of the best centers in the SEC. Like, and then not to mention Michael Morris, the big veteran. Like, the way that they've been able to, you know, cycle these guys in and out, they can keep Michael Morris fresh. Juan Gaston can play right guard. Juan Gaston can play right tackle. Donnie Glover can play either guard spot. Like, you don't see that. That's not normal at all. Like, if an offensive line has one player like that, it's the talk of the town. Georgia has about 4. And I mean, last year's offensive line, I know had the day 2 picks, and, you know, had the fan favorites in Tate Ratledge and Dylan Fairchild, and those are really good players. I mean, Tate Ratledge is balling right now in the NFL. But I think this could be the best group that Georgia's had up front since like 2018, 19. Back when, you remember, every single game they would throw that graphic up about like the average weight of Georgia's offensive line is this much or whatever. Like, that was a big thing when it was like Andrew Thomas, Isaiah Wilson, those guys, Solomon Kinley,
Trey Hill on one of those teams.
Yeah, Galliard, those guys. Like,
whatever year Cleveland was there.
Yeah,
Cleveland would have definitely been on that one.
Yeah. Cleveland was freaking huge, dude. But yeah, I think this is a really special group in terms of versatility, athleticism, ability to just play right away, keep each other fresh, pick each other up. Like, it's the lifeblood of the team right now. And it was a huge concern earlier in the year because it was like, these guys can't stay healthy. They've had 5 different lineups in the first 5 games, but man, they have really clicked now. And I think that might be the single biggest development for Georgia's team in terms of why they've played so much better lately. I think offensive line is like total, all 5 of those guys put together. I think that's just as important, if not more important, than the quarterback. I don't know how hot of a take that is, but when you've got a really good offensive line, you can just do whatever you want. And that's pretty much what Georgia's been doing lately.
For sure. I mean, that's why the game manager can exist, you know, because you can be an average quarterback that's got a great O-line and some playmakers, and you can make plays. But